Yo, JD here, Turtlemus, and as you can see, again we are back with another F1 2017 video, and hopefully my intro won't be blocked this time as it was by FOM yesterday, so I had to re-upload it. But we have got David Greco, which I couldn't mention yesterday because I had to cut it out. David Greco, one of the Codemasters handling developers, someone I know personally very well. A very, very talented driver, one of the best sim racing drivers in the world, and he does an absolutely amazing job with the handling this year. And he is driving a default setup in the Force India of Ocon, and I think the only thing he's changed, I think it may be like the brake bias or something. So because you can see wet gameplay here, 50% round Spa, and he had a pretty tricky start, which is something from what I found myself when playing the beta is something that's really actually the hardest start out of the F1 games, I'd say. Even though the traction is really easy once you actually get up and going, but that initial start, you can gain so much time and lose so much time. And at the moment, that's something I'm struggling with big time actually on the start. Everything else is on point right now, but the starts, I'm losing definitely at least one position when I'm playing it at the moment. So that's something I have to work on myself. And hopefully when I do master it, that'll be a video I include in the future. But again, like yesterday, just your general thoughts, and this is the first time me watching it again, so this is just my initial reaction. And as you can see, the braking is really, it's a shame you can't see the actual application of the brakes and throttle, because in this game, especially in the wet as well, you're going to have to actually use quite a lot of trail braking for this. And as you can see, oversteering quite a bit with the default setup, which is actually not that bad when you use the default setup. It's only a few attempts off from what I've experienced so far on most tracks, and you can definitely get in probably up to maybe half a second when you actually optimize the setup for yourself. But default setup is not a bad starting point, so you can see it's pretty difficult on just getting the steering locks right for the corners. You can see a little bit of a lock up by Masha, and he's gone a little bit more. No, she managed to clip back quite nicely, getting a nice exit of the corner. Let's see what the traction's like coming up here. As you can see, I had to be very, very progressive actually on the throttle, which you do have to do in this game, and have to brake quite early, but still quite a lot of grip with the cars this year with the downforce. So you do have to brake earlier, but not as early as you did have to for F1 2016. You had to brake probably a lot earlier when it was in full wet conditions. So looking at this and driving it myself, I can't wait to do videos in this where I actually do the wet hot lap series, which I plan to do. I probably might try and do it every day as well. So I'll try to do 2 videos, one in the dry, one in the wet. If I could do it for 20 days straight, 40 videos, that'll be pretty insane as he goes down the inside of 2 drivers there. So yeah, I really can't wait to show that, and just to hear you guys think when you actually get the game itself of how much hopefully you do enjoy it. As I said, fingers crossed the connection's good, because if that's good, then I have no doubt that this game will probably be the best game in multiplayer online for me, definitely. As for career mode, obviously you have to watch the big guys for Tiamat Marduk, Arab, people like that. I will be doing a career by myself, but I'm a little bit of a noob in it, so, and I'll be using my wheel. So that'll be an experience, something a little bit different. But for online in leagues, most likely be using the control this year, because I'm just feeling really, really good, really, really connected to this game, and hopefully doing the best I can of whatever competitions I actually enter. So this gameplay, pretty good. You can see it's pretty difficult to control, getting a lot of oversteer, a lot of counter locking that it's managed to have to do. You do not want to go on the curbs when you're on traction in this game. That is something you definitely do not want to do. And I just think this game, I see a lot of people in the comments or just comments on Twitter from what I've seen in the past that, oh, it's a lot easier to actually pick up and play, which is definitely the case. It's a lot easier than 2016, I would say, to actually just, you know, get on a decent pace. But as I said in my last video, I actually feel that the skill gap is actually going to be bigger between players. Because I think the control inputs are a lot closer this year, and from racing people like the Flying Finn, there's not really too much difference between us when you've actually raced. So I think there's, you know, probably as equal as it has been probably since, I'd say, F1 2013. But as I always say before I get shot down, I always expect the wheel to be quicker, and I have no problem with that. I just want it to be playable on both devices. That's the only concern I had with last game. But yeah, in terms of competition, I think it's going to be really, really equal, really, really tight. But I think the difference, the deciding factor is going to be pushing yourself to that limit every lap, which I feel you're able to do in this game. You're really able to actually push to near your limits, but just consistently being in that limit like you could do on 13, 14 games like that. I think that's going to be a deciding factor. So it's going to be really, really interesting, with setups being a huge thing, and since the slipstream is not really that powerful tool, as we actually got a safety car, so safety car gameplay here. But I think with the slipstream being not that powerful and so much downforce you have, so you can brake so late as well, you've got to be super, super late and skilled on the brakes to actually make a move on someone. And I think since you can now race wheel to wheel a lot better than the previous game, in my opinion, because the input lag is a lot better on the controller for myself personally, and on the wheel it feels really nice as well. And having those battles, actually myself playing this, I feel you're going to be install some really, really good racing. So this is just some wet gameplay footage supplied by Codemasters. The original video, if you want to watch the whole video, is actually on their channel, which I put a link in the description, but I'm sure most people have probably watched that already. But I just wanted to just give you my perspective on this. Just talking about the wet, I feel it's really, I wouldn't say it's probably the most difficult it's been, but it's just really, really tricky to get on the power, and it's all about that exit speed. For me, it's all about that exit. You've got to go slow throughout the corner, but if you get a good exit, I think that's everything. And on this game, I think that's what it is. It's all about, not about throwing the car into the corners, it's just about that exit and traction. I think traction is key on this game, and because you've got so much downforce, it's pretty easy to really nail the corners, but getting that line out, just that 2 mile an hour difference on the exit, and if you're going down like a, almost a half a mile straight, it's going to pay it's going to pay you back at the end of a straight for sure. And with it's so difficult to be an overtake, I think low downforce is really going to be the key for this game, which you'll be able to see my hot lap videos and setups that I'll be doing. But I think carrying the momentum through the high speed corners is going to be absolutely everything for this. Pretty similar to 2013, the way you actually have to approach the game. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you for your questions on my last video as well. I'm still adding them to my Q&A, which I will be releasing before this game comes out for sure. Thank you so much for the support. I'll probably leave maybe just a little bit more footage in here, but as I said, if you want to watch the full video, then go over to the F1 Codemasters YouTube account where you'll be able to see that. So as always, tell me what you think as well of this gameplay, what you actually think of the wet, or your experiences maybe, or maybe not necessarily in the beta, but just what you're looking forward to the most as well in the wet dry, what leagues you're actually taking part in, if you're taking part in AOR, which I'll be taking part in. So thank you as always, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.